Are they live streaming already? Okay, let's try this again. Are you excited about training? So, because the people on the other side of that screen that are watching at home are really excited that they're tuning in, that you get to be here. So that's even more exciting than watching online. So I'm so glad you're here. Okay, we have some extra special guests here tonight, so I can't wait for you to hear from them. But before you hear from them, we're going to do a couple of things. And the first would be, let's open in prayer. So Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you so much for tonight. I just thank you for these awesome ladies that made it here tonight, Lord. And I thank you for their safety and their traveling. And I pray for anybody who's still on their way, God, that you would just prepare a way for them to be here safely, Lord, and that traffic would clear and we would get to see their beautiful faces, God. And I just thank you for tonight. I thank you for Jonathan and Lacy coming to see us all the way from Gainesville, Lord, and just the blessing that they are to our family personally, Lord, and the blessing that I know that they'll be to all of these ladies here tonight. God, may your name be glorified in all that we say and do. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay, all right, so I want to recognize all the awesome work that you guys have been doing. The month of October is awesome, but we're going to recognize September. So I want you to stand up if you love jewelry. Stand up if you love jewelry. And a lot of you have clappers on your chairs, so there needs to be lots of clapping for all of the jewelry that you love. That's right, be excited. Okay, keep standing up if you have a jeweler number. You have a jeweler number. You're an official jeweler. Okay, keep standing up if you did one jewelry show in the month of September. Woo-hoo! Way to go, girls! Okay, keep standing if you did two jewelry shows in the month of September. Wow, if you did three. Way to go if you did four. Wow, Michelle, how many jewelry shows did you do? Four. Way to go.
I'm down here. I'm behind her.
Oh my God! She's so tall! Julie, how many did you do?
6.
Woo! Way to go! Good job. That's what happens when, it happens to me all the time. You know, being short, it's okay. All right, I want you to stand up if you had a jewelry show and it was $100 or more. And give themselves a big round of applause. Way to go. Okay, keep standing if you had a jewelry show that was $400 or more. You need to know, Holly. You need to know.
I do. I remember now.
Okay, all right. Okay, keep standing if you had a jewelry show $600 or more. And y'all clap for these people. These are hard workers. Oh, how was it, girl? Okay, what was your highest jewelry show?
658.
658. That means she made $300 in 3 hours of work.
Yeah.
Who's excited about that? That's really exciting. I mean, I am. Okay, now I want you to stand up if all of your shows combined were equal to $500 or more. Stand up. There we go. Okay, keep standing if they were $700 or more altogether. Okay, if they were $800 or more altogether. Wow, if they were $1,000 or more altogether. I'm enjoying all the clapping. If they were $1,500 or more altogether. Oh, goodness. Okay, stand back up. Okay, what was your total retail?
1274.
1274. 1386.
1475.
1475.
1100 something.
1100 something. That's it. Way to go, Julie. Okay, now let's see. Where am I at next? Did anybody sponsor anybody last month? In the month of September, you had a jeweler sign up? No, we have a lot of October babies in this room. That's right. If you're an October baby, we're gonna celebrate you again next month. But let's just celebrate you now. If you're an October baby, stand up. Almost October baby so far. Okay, y'all come up with Okay, these girls are gonna introduce themselves so that you can get to know your new jewelers in the room. Okay, so we're gonna start.
My name is Julie Johnson, and I'm sponsored by Cheryl.
And Cheryl is like a new jeweler from the month before. So
I'm Cindy Vining. I'm sponsored by Danielle.
I'm Whitney Frazier, and I'm sponsored by Michelle.
Yay! really fast, your favorite thing about Premier so far?
I think it's a godly focus.
Godly focus.
Hey, make sure you have to say that too.
Now, that is really important.
And I really love jewelry, so that's good.
And she loves jewelry. That's
And I really like getting out of the house. So
Woo! Yes. Yes. Who likes getting out of the house? Who likes putting real clothes on? Okay, thank you. Y'all give these ladies a big round of applause. Okay, stand up if you're a guest. You just came to check us out, or you don't have a jeweler number, but you're a guest. Stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know you've been here before, but you're not a jewelry lady yet, but you will be. Okay, so y'all keep your faces peeled for these people because they're going to be back with the jeweler number, okay? So you go talk to them while they're here tonight, and you tell them the awesome things about Premier so that they can be back here next month and standing up here and talking about how they're a new jeweler and how excited they are to be here. Okay? Can y'all do that for me? Yes. Thank you, Natalie. Did y'all know that Natalie brought her 2 little sweet babies? Did you guys see those? And they are they're a week and how many days? They'll be 2 weeks old on Wednesday. Yeah. Okay, so if anybody has a baby in the next year, you have to be at your next training and just bring your babies. Okay? All right. Okay, Michelle is going to catch us up on our calendar. Oh, yeah, I do it right now. You got it, girl. Okay, so calendar. Y'all be marking your calendars for January 10th. That's regional rally. You definitely want to be there. I think this year it's going to be in Atlanta, right? So it can be a really fun girls trip. That's January 10th. That's a Saturday. Registration opens November 3rd. Make sure you go ahead and register for that. And then the triple ticket deadline. You get triple tickets in the drawing. Like all the drawings. You get triple your name in the drawing triple times for getting some free jewelry. That deadline is November 17th. If you sign up before then. Okay? Makes sense. Registration deadline is December 15th. And yes, in regional rally, you want to make sure you bring guests that are interested, prospects, and also bring your husband or boyfriend. Tell them why you should bring guests, Michelle.
Because they're going to get to see how amazing Premier is, just the leadership, and they're going to get to hear just how Premier is, is different than every other company, and so it's a really great way to let them know that and see in the bigger picture. I went to regional rally before I became a jeweler, and that was the reason why, well, among other reasons, but that was the top. That was why I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So it's a really great tool for your prospects. Is that what you were wanting? Yeah. Okay. And then Christmas party is December 15th. We haven't decided all the details about that, but we will be getting that to y'all soon, right? And then November 10th, I'm backing up here a little bit, is Girls Night. Okay, and so this is for y'all. This is just a fun way for us to get together as girls and just get to hang out and get to know each other, because there's a lot of us that we just keep growing, and it's hard to kind of get everything in on training night, just getting to catch up and stuff. And so this is a really great way. We're actually going to do it at my house for Girls Night. And actually what we're going to be doing, we're going to do a little craft. We're going to be making something out of burlap like this. So you can pick out what you want to make. If you want to make like a Christmas tree or a football or whatever your heart desires, just make sure it's not too complicated. But we'll have all the supplies and stuff and let you. I don't know. I mean, it'll be really cheap, like no more than $10 for all the supplies and stuff. So for y'all to get to come and make something like this. Would y'all like to do that? Yeah. Yeah. This would be a really cute door hanger. This is just what I made for the door hanger for my son's room, but we can do something bigger than this. This is just for example. Are y'all excited?
Isn't that so fun? There's so many girls' night! Woo! Okay, and then also just to remind y'all about training. Training is every third Monday, so make sure that you go ahead and mark your calendars
for that. And then also we have what's called Fun to Share, which is every fourth Monday. And so actually our next Fun to Share will be next Monday night. It's at Danielle and Dave's house. They have an awesome meal, and we just get to hang out. You get to bring the only rule is that for you to get to come is that you have to bring guests. So they get to hear about how awesome Premier is and just get to talk with other people that are interested, because it's nice to hear other people's fears and concerns and excitements in the same room, and so that's a really great way to bring prospects in. It's a really great tool that we have, so y'all definitely need to take advantage of it. And then we also, new jeweler training. Did you want to announce about that? New jeweler training is on November 1st. It's from 9 to 1 at Danielle and Dave's house. And it's a really great tool as well, because we're going to get to practice a lot of what we do in the home show. And so even if you are you've been a jeweler for a while, but you still are kind of, maybe you want some freshening up, this will be a great, you could still come just to kind of, learn some new tricks, or not tricks, learn some new whatever ideas, that's a better word, for your business and for your shows and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. We'll have breakfast and coffee, and it'll be tons of fun. So make sure you come to that. I'm trying to think of anything else.
I think that's everything on my list.
Yeah, that was all on your list. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, that's it.
Michelle's such a great announcement giver. Okay, well, without any further ado, I know that y'all did not really come to training night to hear from us. You came because Jonathan and Lacy are here, right? And you want to hear from them. I mean, I know we're kind of cool too, but they're cooler. So, anyway, so let me introduce them. Jonathan and Lacy are some of our sweet, sweet friends. I actually went to college with Lacy, and I taught school with Lacy. We only taught together for 1 year, because then Jonathan knocked her up, and then she left to be right? It's the truth.
That is the truth.
Yeah. So,
We were married, though. We were married.
And she's going to share her story with you guys, kind of how she transitioned out of teaching and into Premier, and how it's blessed their life. But they're amazing. They've been in Premier for 5 years. They are 6 diamond designers, which, if you have any idea what that is, it's really successful in the Premier world. You go from being a jeweler to becoming a builder to a designer, then you move from 1 diamond, 2 diamond, 3 diamond, 4 diamond, 5 diamond, 6 diamond is where they're at right now, 7 diamond, and then you move up to be an executive director in the company, which is as high as you can possibly be. So how awesome that you get to hear from 6 diamond designers, Lacy and Jonathan Basford. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. Woo! It really is, okay? And that they are in your Premier.
So $100 is a lot of money, y'all. And so anyway, so I was excited, and I go, my goal's $1,000. And he looked at me like I had lost my mind, and he was like, okay. And I said, oh, I'm gonna pay that $200 bill, and I'm gonna save up to pay cash for our dream car, which was a minivan at the time. And I still have not gotten that minivan, but it's okay. I have another new car. But anyways, so that was my dream, and so I, from that point on, did 4 to 5 jewelry shows a month and was making my $1,000, and I was so happy. I was happy doing just that. Go.
I don't know where I fit into that.
Dog.
Oh, is that where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so coming out of college, I was working at well, actually, in college, I was in an internship with a large home builder, Pulte Homes, who I know is someone around this area, or used to be. And I was doing an intern. It was like a year-long internship, and it's very, hey, you're gonna get a job at the end of this. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a nice job, and all this stuff. And so I graduated at the end of the year, and the internship ends at the same time. And at that month, it was 2006. So I don't know if you know about housing in 2006 in Florida. I mean, here too, but I mean,
Oh,
it was,
bad.
yeah. So the company laid off like 55 people in our office. So I obviously didn't have a job as I expected. But I did end up going to work for one of their subcontractors, and it was going well. I was doing project management and office stuff, purchasing, stuff like that. And I was enjoying it, and we were, it was potentially, something we would grow, and I was, hopefully gonna, well, the hope was I was going back and working for the home builder or something. But In 2009, we were in, was it 10? So 2010, we were a normal construction company at the time, stretched, very thin, doing a lot of work but not making any money on it. And we were just, the company was just in the red. And one day the bank just said, we're done supporting you. So they didn't pay our payroll, so we ended up shutting the doors. So the company closed down, and it just so happens that month, or the month before, Lacy had booked 10 shows almost by accident. Because her goal at the time was what, 2 to 4?
4 to 5.
4 to 5 shows a month. And she had booked 10 shows. And it was good because we ate the next month. And that's really what, for our story, that was about, what, a year in? So we were on a year in, and the momentum that built, doing those 10 shows, and that obviously to us, God provided that. He said, hey, you're going to need a few more shows this month. Here you go. And so that rolled, and it just continued on and on and on. And Lacy was at that time, or after that, Lacy started doing Century Club type work, 100 shows a year. And that fed us through a year and a half where I was looking for a job. Looking for jobs in construction was not happening, and trying to get into agriculture, stuff like that is where I'm kind of my field. And it was just really bad, really slow. So,
Yeah.
you take it over.
So then what happened? Control. So
No, I don't.
I don't know why.
I'll let you talk that whole time.
You did. So, but anyway, one of the main points of that is that was a really tough time for us. She was doing, Premier was blossoming and growing, but for me, I was back at the house trying to figure out, hey, what is this? We're living off of this thing. My wife's going out and doing all the work. I'm not providing. It's just, it was a very broken type situation. Lacy would go out, and she would go to Mariana, which is 3.5 hours away, which is where we're from. But she would go to Mariana, and she would do 8 or 10 shows, a week's worth. She would be gone for a week or 2 at a time. And I'd be at home by myself. I looked for a job today. I sent out a resume. And it was tough. And I think you're gonna talk a little bit more about the.
Yeah. So I would be gone, and it just got to the point after over a year of that I was like, I'm not coming home. I would come home to a broken man, really, and a broken marriage, and I don't want to deal with that because all I could think about was doing shows and surviving and taking care of the girls. And so I would be gone 2 weeks, and one time I told him I wasn't coming home. And during this time, Cheryl was talking to me, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And I'm telling him in the next conversation, I'm not coming home. And I didn't, and I said that to him, and he said, yeah, you are. And so finally I went back home. And he's so bossy. But I did, but the thing is, we were both broken people, and our marriage was broken. And that year, somebody from our church, because we had no money, Premier was paying our bills, and we were eating, and things, we were making it, but that's all we had. And I was doing anywhere from 10 to 20 jewelry shows a month, okay, to pay our bills. Because at that time, our commission check, we had a little bit of a commission, but it was not paying bills kind of commission. And so somebody sponsored us to go on our church's marriage retreat, and it was really there. That's another one of those marking stones in your life where God says, hey, you're not in control, I am, and I'm going to humble you. And so we go to the marriage retreat, and it was there that God grabbed both of our hearts and really kind of transformed us and said, hey, I'm going to be in the middle of this right here, and you're going to put me here. And so we did. We made a conscious decision to put him first and to focus on what he was calling us to do. And he clearly said to both of us at that marriage retreat, I am closing every other door, and the door that I keep leaving wide open, you are fighting. And that door was Premier. So at that retreat, we made a decision for him to quit looking for a job. And we focused on Premier through many ups and downs and bumps and roads, learning how to work together through this whole jewelry thing. So we've been doing Premier essentially now 4 years solely, which has been incredible. So that's not for everybody. Not everybody should do Premier full-time with your husband, but he has called us to that and called our family to that. And so, yeah, that's kind of where our story leads. And the crazy thing is, you know, our lives have been changed because of God's work through Premier, and so many countless other lives have done it simply because we took that step of obedience to say, okay,
It's good.
we're going to do it. So, and let me just tell you some numbers here, because this was stupidity. But when I made the decision to not go back to teaching, when a year into Premier, when he lost his job, I could have gone back to teaching very easily, and I could have put the kids in daycare, but I didn't want that. My desire was to stay at home. And so I thought, I'll do Premier more temporarily, you know, and then temporarily turned into permanently, but it's okay. I love it. But we made that decision on this. I had just reached Builder at my 1-year anniversary, which Builder is when you sponsor 4 people. I had 7 in my 10-10-10, and that was because Danielle had sponsored the other 3. And so, because she signed up 8 months.
Yeah, about 8 months.
Yeah, but P.S., in my first 2 years of sponsoring people, guess who is the only one still left? Danielle, right? That's totally normal. So listen, my decision to not go back to teaching Builder, I had 7 in my 10-10-10, and this was coming off one of the biggest months of the year is August. So our September commission from August out of 7 people was a whopping $400. And I thought, I don't have to go back to teaching. That was like 2 home shows I didn't have to do. That's amazing. Which it is amazing. That is so good, right? And then a year later, when we kind of made the decision for him to quit looking for a job, okay, and this is going to be our full-time thing, in our 10-10-10, I had just reached designer, okay, so it took me like another 6 months to reach designer. We had a total of 18 people in our 10-10-10, which is great growth. And coming off of that August commission, our commission check was, drum roll, $1,200. And I thought we were rolling in the dough. And I thought, we can do this. This is great. P.S. That's not enough money to live off of. We learned that. And our family thought we were insane, which we were, but God was telling us to be. So, you know, we were totally like blinded, like this is what God's called us to and this is what we're doing. And God bless that, but my dad in particular was like rolling him up one side and down the other about not providing for your family. And I'm like, Daddy, God's called us to this. And, you know, just blind. But anyways, and then 4 years into it, so at our 4-year anniversary, well, let me just tell you now, at our 5-year anniversary, we have like 214 people in our 10-10-10, and that is all because of God's work and multiplication in lots of different families. And our commission check from this past August was over $12,000. So, God provides, okay? And I don't tell you that to say, oh, look, you can make $12,000. No. I'm telling you, if you take steps of obedience and you work, God will bless your efforts. You got to give it all to Him, though. Okay? So that's kind of our testimony. And from here. Yeah. Very good. Y'all give Jonathan a hand. He's so happy. Look at his back is sweating. He's like so happy. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about bookings, all right? Can you give me a time? Anybody? Somebody?
8 o'clock.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, listen, God feeds the birds, but He doesn't drop the worms into the nest, right? What do the birds have to do?
Go search for them.
They have to go search for them. And guess what you have to do in your Premier business?
Go search.
Work. Okay? And that's the truth. So I'm going to give you an acronym, because I love acronyms.
Oh,
And,
who needs notes? Anybody need notes?
oh, there's some right here. Who needs them? The acronym, though, you can kind of write down. Oh, you get first. Y'all good? Y'all good? These are all prepared up here. Okay, so the acronym that I'm going to go off when I'm going to talk about some like bookings and building your home show business is going to be, the first letter is P.
Premier. Pretty.
But y'all are very good at your first name. It's P, all right? So the first thing that I think helps you, and from experience in building your Premier business, is P stands for personal. You have got to keep what you're doing very personal. And here's the thing, if you come to one of my home shows, when I first started, I would get to a hostess's show an hour beforehand. Don't raise your hand if you do that, because that's not good. I would get there an hour before, and I would bring all my crap in, and I would say, can I borrow a pot from your kitchen? And I need a couple of cans of like green beans or something. And she would look at me like I had lost my mind. And I would say, I just need it for my table. And I'd put it down, and then I'd lay my black tablecloth over it, and I'd put this like headless little mannequin up, and I'd do all this, put it pink fabric. I'm just crazy crap. And I would spend an hour setting up this jewelry table, and the pot would like rise it up, so it'd be different levels and stuff, okay? And so what was I focused on? The jewelry. I wasn't focused on the people, because what would happen is I'm never on time. So I wouldn't actually get there an hour before. And so it would still take me an hour to set it up. So people would be coming through the door, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just finishing up. I'm finishing up. Well, who am I missing?
The people.
The most important people in the room, the most important thing in the room are the people walking through that door, okay? So nowadays, what I do is I take my jewelry trays and I put them on the table and I somewhat straighten them out and say, come and play, come and play. I don't care what that jewelry table looks like, and you shouldn't either, because people are going to buy regardless. My retail has not decreased, nothing like that, because I want you to focus on the most important thing is building relationships with those people. So whether I got there 5 minutes before that show and none of my jewelry is out, I put it on the table, and as soon as the first person walks through the door, what do?
Hello.
Stop. And I go to the door. And the hostess may be coming with me, or I'm beating her there. And I say, hey girl, it's so good to see ya. I'm a hugger, hug me. Oh, and then I say this, and it's no lie, I do this at every show. You look familiar. Now, I'm not totally lying, because most of the time they do look familiar. Somebody can always look familiar, y'all, right? Okay. But what it does is it's such an easy conversation starter. And also it keeps me, because I'm so bad at remembering people, like if they say to me, they may know me from, they've been to a home show and I don't even know who the heck they are. And so, which is really bad, but I'm just being real honest with y'all. And so it's like a safety net for me. So then, and I'm like, no, I never met you. I'm like, oh, where do you go to church? Do you have kids? Where do you work at? And what am I doing?
Connecting.
I'm connecting. I'm going to find one thing, one common thread that we have. You can do that with almost anybody. To build a relationship with her. And that's the first and most important step that you could ever do walking into a home show, is personally connecting with every single person that walks through that door. So I'm going to have a little 2-second conversation with her. And then I would say, girl, I want you to just go to that jewelry table. It looks like a hot mess right now. I'm just straightening it. I want you to go and put 2 to 3 pieces on that you love, and you're going to wear it through the whole show. Okay? And so what that does is it gets her playing in the jewelry. She's over there with me as I'm straightening it, and we're just continuing our conversations. Okay? So I don't care what you're doing. You need to stop and greet those people at the door.
That's good.
You want to keep it personal. E is the next letter. And it stands for excited experience. That's a double E. Excited experience. Okay. This, and when I normally train on this, I go into what I do in a home show, but I don't have to, because y'all do what I do in a home show, which is the purse game, right? Who in here does the purse game? Okay, is that an excited experience for your customers?
Yes.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Lots of people ask me, do you change what you do when somebody's been to your show 8 times? Heck no, I don't change what I do. I can do that purse game. My letters don't change. I don't change a darn thing. I do this. I say my same jokes. I always say, oh, if you've got a T in there, pull out a tampon, and they all laugh. And here's the thing. If somebody's been to 8 shows, guess what? They say the jokes with me, and it's awesome. But the reason I do that is this. I just had, in June, I had this lady named Miss Cheryl sign up, and she is 70-ish. And she said, she came up to me, she literally had probably been to about 8 jewelry shows this past year, and she came up to me and she goes, I'm ready to do it. And I said, what? You want to do another show? And she goes, I'm going to be a jewelry lady, and they're going to be shouting, Cheryl Studebaker. And I went, huh? What? And because she doesn't even wear the jewelry, she just comes to the shows. And so, and she hosts shows, but she gives her jewelry away. And so I'm like, okay. And she goes, listen, I have seen you do, I can quote your show now. I've seen you do 8 shows and I can do it now because I said it with you in my head tonight. And I said, that's awesome. And that is why I do the fun purse game over and over and over again. Because women who are not very confident and who think they can never do what I do see that all I do is the same thing over and over again. And that is a huge sponsoring activity for you right there just in what you do. Okay? So, but you want to keep it excited. I still say my same jokes and I'm still funny, and usually there's 1 or 2 people who haven't seen what I'm doing, so it's new to them. But I'm going to keep doing the same thing. One thing that I do differently than what Danielle does is I do Frida, and I wish I would have brought it. But I know. But this, who here knows what Frida is?
Nobody.
I had a feeling
Linda.
that you would know.
I've seen it just from
Okay, listen. This is why I love Frida, is because you can only listen to this for so long, right? And so I say, when I get to, we do P for Premier, and we do G for Golden Guarantee, and then my next thing is F for, or no, it's something. It's
You
F
do
for fashion.
but I do A for accessories, and so do they.
Yeah, okay. And then I do, the only reason I don't do A is because I think I lost my A or something. And then my next letter is H, and that does not stand for hostess plan. For me, it stands for helpers. And so I say, okay, I need 2 ladies to volunteer, and you get 10 extra tickets when you volunteer. If you tell them that, they get up there like, why don't I? So like, I want my 10 tickets, okay? And so they come up here, and I have a poster, and it's on the Rockstars website, but I have 2, there's actually 3 Fridas, but that's too many. I only do 2. And I do Frida shop, and I hand it to one girl, and I do Frida make the bucks. And they come up there and I say, girls, listen, I'm so glad, P.S., that I am from the South and y'all are from Alabama, and so I sound normal to y'all. Anyways, most of the time people are like, where are you from? Anyway, so they come up there and I say, listen, girls, these ladies have new first names. You know what their new first names are?
Frida.
Well, no, they're like, what? And I go, Frida, you always wanted to be a Frida? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you have. This one, her last name is Shop, so her whole name is what?
Frida Shop.
And this one, her last name is Make the Bucks, so her whole name is what?
Frida Make the
Frida
Bucks.
Make. And then they start laughing. And then I say, all right, now you're just going to sit over there for a second. And then I have Frida Shop reads the back of the poster. And she is Frida Shop. And she holds out her hand. I put a plate on there, and she has to read it like this. And she reads through the entire hostess plan, pretty much, of Premier. And as she's reading, I stop and interrupt and just clarify how much free jewelry a hostess gets, and I stack my boxes. You stack your boxes? I stack them the same way through Frida, okay? Immediately following that, I do a fun booking activity. Guess what I do? Deal or double deal. Okay, we do the same thing. So I do that same booking activity, and then we play Deal or Double Deal. And Frida Make Bucks is still standing up here all by herself, and I do Deal or Double Deal with her. And then I say, girl, you get extra tickets for waiting so long. And I say, now I'm not going to interrupt Frida Make the Bucks at all. She gets to read the whole thing without me saying a word. And so she reads how she can easily make a couple $100 a night doing jewelry shows, because you make 50% in Premier. And she goes and she reads through the story, and then I follow that up with big money, which is what you also do as well. So that's the only thing that I do different in my jewelry shows. Everything else is the same. And if you don't consider yourself a funny person, just get with somebody who is, ask them some jokes that they do in their show, and then copy them. That's all you have to do, okay? But keep it an excited experience. Okay, the next letter is O. And O stands for you got to open and offer immediately. And listen, you all do that because Danielle is awesome at training on that, and that is offering. You cannot just say this is what a hostess gets for free. You must offer them an incentive for booking. That is a booking activity. You've got to offer a booking incentive. And she does that through Deal or Double Deal. Who does Deal or Double Deal in this room?
Dave does.
What'd you do? What did you do?
I did.
Pass or play? Chance and honor?
No.
Remember. Okay, well that made me about $20. You had to do a booking activity. Okay, you have got to open your mouth and offer Premier to them. If you don't do that, you will have to start your business over. And if there's one thing that sucks in this life, that is starting your business over. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So open your mouth. P, the next P, stands for being purposeful. And so you want to make sure, and you're being purposeful through your guest surveys, which Danielle has trained you on, and you want to make sure that you're being purposeful in your checkout. So when I check out, I always go to a separate section of the house. I used to hop around like a bunny with all my supplies because I was like, oh, you're ready. Oh, you're ready. Okay, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot my phone on this because I'm like crazy, right? And so then somebody said to me once in a training, have a separate checkout area, and it was like heaven opened, and I thought, that's so smart. And so I usually do it on a kitchen counter. One time I did it on a kitchen stove in this very nice home, and she had a brand new fancy stove. Don't ever sit anything on a stove, because you may lean over and the knob may turn, and you may burn your folder onto her brand new stove. And this stove was like $10,000, like Jen Air, okay? Thankfully, somebody yanked up the plastic and threw it in the sink, and it just smelled really bad in her house, and I scrubbed her. It was bad. Anyway, it was $1,000 show though, and I didn't have to give her any money. Oh, anywho, don't put it on the stove, just word of advice. But put it somewhere in the kitchen, usually is a good place, okay? So I set my stuff out. So if somebody says, I'm ready, I say, that's great, come on over here. I've got my stuff over here. And so she comes, and I have my guest surveys there, I have my calendar there, and my phone, which is my calculator in Square, okay? And I say to her, oh gosh, because I don't ever remember their names, because I am very bad at names. And so I come and I see her name on her order form, right? I'm like, oh, Susie, I love. And so then I start flipping through the guest surveys for her name, and I put it right on top so she can see that I'm looking at it and she's looking at it. So she said, yeah, I'm doing a show, or yes, I'm interested in Premiere. It's right in front of her face and mine. And so I always ask anybody, whether they say, heck to the no, I'm never doing a show for you, I hate you, or whether they say, yeah, I want to do a show, I'm still going to ask every person, girl, I'm going to comment on some jewelry that she bought, you know, oh, I love this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, girl, when were you thinking about having some girlfriends over and getting some free jewelry? I say that to every single person. And you'll be very surprised, people who did not play your game in the booking activity will go, well, and then I'll say, oh, girl, were you thinking about October? You don't ever let her go. You just, and listen, you all know that you can't give a woman more than 2 choices at a time, right? Y'all know that? So when I say it, I say, okay, girl, when were you thinking about doing a show? And she goes, well, and I'm like, oh, were you thinking like October? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, does October or November sound better to you? How many choices is that? 2. And then she says, oh, well, you know, I've got to go to Tahiti in October, so maybe, you know, November. And I'm like, awesome. You've got to do this before Thanksgiving, though, before everybody spends their money on Black Friday. So let's get it done in early November. She's like, okay. I'm like, great. Weekday or weekend is better for you. And usually they say weekday. And so I'll say, great, I have this Tuesday and this Thursday. Tuesday the 3rd or Thursday the 5th. Which one's better for you? How many choices is that? 2. You don't ever say, I have, oh, my whole calendar's open because I have nothing. No, you're in demand and you have a life. And so you're going to tell her when you can do shows. 2 choices at a time, okay? So I walk her through that, get her on my calendar. I also say, have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? And usually they say, nah. But the last girl I sponsored last week was simply because I said that to her mother, who circled a 0. And I said, have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing, even though she circled a 0? And she goes, no, I haven't really, but I was thinking about this for my daughter. She's got 2 young girls. So I said, well, listen, do you think she would mind you giving me her contact information? And she goes, well, I don't know, let me text her real quick. She texted her right there and said, hey, I'm at this jewelry show. This lady kind of wants to talk to you. I think you'd be good at it. Can I give her your number? She goes, sure. So I her name is Crystal Jansen, and I texted her, and guess what? She ignored me. So then a couple days later, what did I do?
Text her.
Hey girl, not sure if you got this message. And she did reply to me. She goes, sorry, when I got it, it was really busy. I meant to come back to it, okay? Which I believe her, because now she's a jewelry lady, so I have to. And she said, and I said, hey, what are you doing? Can I just come over on your lunch break? So I brought lunch to her at her work. We sat down. Her husband happened to just drop by to pick up something from her, and he stayed for the OP as well. She signed up that night. Okay? Never met the girl. Had I not asked her mother, had she ever thought about doing Premiere, the conversation would have never been opened that maybe her daughter could. Okay? So what do you have to do? Open your mouth.
Okay, you've got to open your mouth and offer. And be purposeful, which is what that P was. Okay, L stands for listen and learn, which you are doing right now because you are here at training, and it's what you all are going to do in January at Jewel School. You've got to make training a priority and schedule it just like you would your jewelry shows. Schedule a babysitter if you need to, or your husband. You have got to make training a priority and be here. When you come to training, you may know what you're doing, and you may have a full calendar and feel like you don't need training. But you could totally be an encouragement to somebody else. You also just need personal encouragement outside of your premier business, and training can offer that to you. And plus, when you come to training, you develop this sisterhood that is very special, and really see people through life's experiences. So, make training a priority. You can also listen to trainings online. There are 1,000,001 trainings online, and so you can totally look them up. Listen, when we started Premier, we had nothing, okay? There was not, well, there was a training, but it was iffy. And there were not the online resources that there are now. We did not have any senior leadership above us to train us. So how did we learn? We sought out the information, and we just figured it out by trial and error. And so it's out there at your fingertips, so don't waste it. It's totally there for you. So listen and learn. And then E is the last letter, and it stands for elsewhere. So if you're sitting here saying, I have no shows on my calendar, then maybe you need to look elsewhere, because the avenues that you've been working on are not working. And so when I have reached a point when I decided to quit going to Mariana because it was tearing our family apart, and I decided to only do my shows in the Gainesville area, I had 5 shows scheduled that October, okay? And I thought, this is awesome. I've got 5 Gainesville shows, and I'm going to build from these and make it work. One of them was a fundraiser where I was giving all of my profit away to a homeschool group. Yes, that homeschool group Christy was in. And the other 4 were literally, almost all of them were ladies from our church, okay? So who knew our situation, who knew Premier was providing for our needs, and they were going to support us, right? And so October rolls around, and I have put my trust in the Lord, and I am not going to Mariana for the sake of my family. And I clearly heard for him to say, stop going to Mariana. So I stopped, and I gave all my shows away to my jewelers there. And so I go, and October rolls around. Guess how many shows I held? 1. And it was the fundraiser where I was giving all my profit away, right? And we still ate from our shows. So this was a bad situation. And so the ladies from our church who knew our situation bailed on us. Listen, that's totally normal, okay? Don't take it personally. They still have not done a show. But what happened was I got to work and looked elsewhere for shows. I set up at vendor events I think I did 2 vendor events that month that I just happened to find. I was looking everywhere for somewhere to set up and get my face in front of people. And I did that fundraiser, and by December of that year, I had 12 jewelry shows on my calendar before Christmas in Gainesville. Simply because I put myself out there and I looked elsewhere. So I did fundraisers, I did vendor events. Now, have I done those where absolutely nothing came from them? Yes. Did it stop me from doing them again? No, because you wouldn't believe, especially a fundraiser for me personally, has literally opened my business up in so many areas and ways. So there are so many people out there looking for money. Pregnancy centers, youth groups, homeschool groups. Oh my gosh, October right now, you've got breast cancer awareness, you've got Relay for Life coming up. People are looking to raise funds, and you've got to go out there and seek them because they're not going to fall in your lap. Okay? So look elsewhere. Don't ever blame, nobody wants to do a show. Oh, but people want money. So you can find them. Okay? And it will expand your business. What does that word spell?
People.
People. Because what is the most important thing in this business?
People.
It's the people. I'm going to read you something real quick. And it's a quote by Chuck Swindoll, and it's about attitude. And it says this: the longer I love, the more I realize the impact of an attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do, like when they all canceled on me. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill, and it will make or break a company, or it will make and break your premier business. It's kind of hard time to keep track. A church or a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude that we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past, and we cannot change the fact that people will act a certain way. They'll cancel a show. They won't show up. They'll just not answer the phone. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. You are in charge of your attitudes. So when things don't go your way, you've got to check your attitude and keep going. Okay? There's no secret sauce to Premier. It's that you just kept doing it. All right?
Good job.
What time is it?
You have 40 minutes, 35 minutes. Why don't you just keep talking?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know y'all hate like listening to me this whole time.
No.
Okay. Now this is what I really want to talk to y'all about, and that is sponsoring. Because this is why, listen, sponsoring is like a good addiction. It's like crack, but better. Or it's like Coke, I should say Coke. I love Coke. Coca-Cola.
Yes.
My sister lived, she's from like lower Alabama like me, and she lived in Alaska for 8 years, and she was working at the library or something, and they were sitting around the table at lunch, and they were talking about grocery budgets, and she said, I just have to make sure that I budget for my Coke. And she's just talking about how she loves Coke, and it makes her feel better, it gets her through the day, and she doesn't really, blah, blah. And she's just talking about, my sister is crazy. You think I'm crazy, my sister is crazy. And she said, and they were all, she goes, I looked, just kind of looked around, and they were all looking at me like, they were like concerned, like their eyes were wide, and their faces were gone. And she's like, what? And they're like, you mean like Coke? Like crack? And she's like, no, I mean like Coca-Cola. And they're like, oh, that's called pop here, or whatever they call it. So, no, I'm not addicted to crack. No, I love Coke. Anyways, this is why sponsoring is the best addiction you can have. It's because when you see what God does through Premier in somebody else's life, it is amazing. It's like when you're at church, and you see somebody who doesn't know the Lord, and they come to know the Lord, and their whole countenance just changes. You've seen that if you're a believer. It's the same way in Premier. When God through Premier provides for a need, it's incredible. We have seen just families in small ways, in financial ways, in spiritual ways, in relational ways, be totally changed because of Premier. And it was simply because we opened our mouth. And that's why you can't keep it shut. You've got to open it and share, because you don't know what God's going to use you to do in somebody else's life. Okay? So we're going to talk about building our business, and we're going to do another acronym, and that's called BUILD. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it is. And B stands for you got to buckle up, okay, and stop making excuses. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that. Okay, and U stands for upping your momentum. Okay, so I was just talking about jewelry shows and kind of some things you need to do at your home show to keep it very personal and focused on people. But you also have to up your momentum. So I am convinced that one thing that has been, if somebody says, well, what do you do to grow so fast? Well, you have to work. And so when Jonathan lost his job, because we had to, we went through what I will call the years of 100. And so during that time, we were doing over 100 home shows for 2.5 years. I was doing at the rate of over 100 home shows a year, okay, which is a lot. But we had to because we had to eat, right? And so we did that. But what results from doing more home shows?
More sponsors. Meet more people.
You meet more people, that's right. And when you are in front of more people, you get to talk with them about Premier. So if you're sitting here thinking, I've never sponsored, or I would like to sponsor more, and I'm just not finding the people who want to do Premier, then my answer always will be to you, do more home shows. because that is where you're going to meet more people. Okay? So you've got to up your momentum. So during that time, kind of unwillingly, we had a period of time where we had momentum. Jonathan kind of alluded to it earlier, where we had that 1 month where we did 10 shows. Well, if you have a cluster of time where you do a lot of shows, guess what produces from that? More shows, okay? So if you cluster them all together, and maybe your life can't handle that amount of cluster. Maybe you have 1 month of sacrifice that you have agreed with your family, and say you normally do 2 shows a month. Well, then a cluster for you may mean 6 shows a month. I'm going to do 6 shows this month to really build up my calendar for the next few months, okay? For us, it was, I'm going to do this for 2.5 years, okay? But it totally can happen with you just doing 1 or 2 cluster months a year that's agreed upon between you and your family. So if you have those periods of momentum, it really will catapult you a lot. So doing more home shows, and then when you do more home shows, though, you have to intentionally do more sharing. So that means doing more OPs, bringing somebody to fun to share, bringing guests to training, okay? These are all opportunities for you to get those OPs done as well. Statistically, you will sponsor 1 in every 5 people you share with. Now, does that mean you're going to share with 5 people and somebody's going to sign up? No, I wish, but it's not like that. But you may share with 15, and then the next 3 sign up. Okay, you never know how the cards will lay, but statistically, 1 in 5 people that you share this business with will sign up. Okay, so you've got to up your momentum to get in front of more people. I stands for being intentional in all you do. Who in here does a sponsoring activity at your show? They're busy writing. Mm-hmm. I really hope it's more than that. What do y'all do? Shout it out.
Give a dollar.
$5, big money. What do you mean by that?
The big
The
money.
Oh,
$5.
yes. Okay. Yeah, pretty much everybody's doing the Jennifer Newton sponsoring activity. I've done other things where I pulled out candy bars and Barbie thing, and they're all stupid. Do big money. Okay. But you got to make sure you're doing that sponsoring activity at your show. And here's the deal: a sponsoring activity does not sponsor people. It creates curiosity. Okay, so that is the whole goal of your sponsoring activity. But if you don't do anything with that curiosity, you will never sponsor. So that's why you have to be intentional. Who in here has been sponsored personally by Danielle? Okay, what did she do?
Talk to you.
She probably did what? Set up a what? A time to meet with you to talk about Premiere, didn't she? Or she invited you to a fun to share. So did she follow up? Yes. What?
But a lot of people are looking at me and saying, well, I just sort of watched you do it and then decided to sign up.
But she follows up with you, otherwise you would not be sitting right here today, okay? So it created the curiosity. Whatever she did created the curiosity, and then she followed up with you to sign up, okay, and to share the business with you. I will tell you, during a show, you need to have a time where you do a testimony. Okay, now that does not mean you stand up here for 30 minutes and you say all that God has done in your life through Premiere and it's a sermon. You know, we're not doing that. I'm talking about a 30-second testimony that tells this: before Premiere, during Premiere, and after Premiere, or because of Premiere. Before Premiere, I was a teacher. I started Premiere because I wanted to stay at home, and we had a $200 need that we needed to meet every month. And now, because of Premiere, I've been able to stay at home, and my husband and I work together full time. How long did that take me to do?
10 seconds.
Like 15 seconds, maybe? Okay. Before Premiere, why Premiere, and now that Premiere has been in my life. So you need to think when you go home tonight, or you may be thinking right now, how can I say that very effectively to people in my show that doesn't take 30 minutes, but just takes 30 seconds to show I'm normal just like you. I chose Premiere because of this need, and this is what my life is like and what Premiere has done now. Okay, so I want to make sure that you have that in your show. And I always follow up my big money activity with that testimony. Okay. The next thing you need to do is have some wow statements from your show. Like, wow. Okay. I would be that kind of person. What? That would be me in the show. If you have a different personality, you may be thinking it in your head, but not actually doing that. But here's some wow statements for you to have during your sponsored activity. Watch me tonight. This may be something you want to do. Or, jewelry is a $70 billion industry every year. Did you know that? You're part of that. When you say those kinds of things, what do people start thinking?
I can make some money.
Oh my gosh, I could be a part of that. I didn't realize a lot of people like jewelry this much. There's money to be had in jewelry. And then I also love saying in my shows, and people are saying, oh, I just can't be a salesperson. And I say, oh, girls, I love showing jewelry because I don't have to sell it. I don't have to convince you need jewelry. It's just fun jewelry. And I say that through my shows. And then it gets them thinking, oh, I don't have to be a salesperson to sell jewelry. It's selling to a want. It's very easy to do. Okay? So having those wow statements through your show. The next thing you need to do is get where the people are. Well, the number one place you can get where people are is at a home show. But I think this story is so funny. So Kathy Allen is an executive director in Premier. She's in Kansas, and Elizabeth Draper was telling the story, and she said she called Kathy and was like, hey, girl, what you doing? And she said, oh, girl, I just got back from a hot yoga class. Y'all heard of those? But it turned different. And if y'all saw Kathy Allen, you would be like, she's in a what? And so she said, and Gail Elizabeth goes, you're in a what? And she goes, yeah, I'm in a hot yoga class. And she's like, what are you doing in a yoga class? And what's hot yoga? And she goes, girl, you wouldn't believe the women who go to yoga. And so I'm meeting all these new ladies, and I've got 2 shows booked with them, and I've already got some prospects. So she's literally going to yoga so she can meet new women. She was getting where the people are, okay? So then she called her back like a few months later, and she's like, just joking with her. She's like, how's your yoga going? And she's like, oh, girl, I'm in a bowling league now. I'm not doing yoga anymore. And she's like, wait a minute. She goes, girl, I did like 3 home shows. There were already 4 jewelry ladies now that were sponsored in that yoga class, so I had to move on to somebody else. So now she's in a bowling league. Who knows? She's probably doing something different by now. But she's doing that to get where the people are, okay? So you got to think, how can I get to where some people are? You have to know what you're going to say before you begin. Typically, when you have somebody who's interested in Premier, are they going to know the right questions to ask? Maybe if they've done direct sales before, but usually they won't. So you've got to know some questions to say to them to get them thinking about things. So here are some questions that you could ask them. What made you want to sit down and listen today? Okay. When they talk to you about that, you're going to really hear why and what their need is in Premier. Everybody's need is not financial, although that's the majority of people's needs is a financial need. Sometimes it's a relational need. They may need to be around uplifting women in their life, okay? Or they may want to just meet new people. So you've got to find out why is it that they even want to know about Premier. And you can do that very easily by saying, why do you want to do this? Or you could say, what made you interested in this? And they'll start talking, okay? Another question that's really good just to ask is, what are you looking for in something like this? That will help you know. One time I sat down with a girl and she said, I would like to make $3,000 a month. And I went, well, you're going to have to sponsor some people. Do you think you can do 15 shows a month? And she was like, no. And I said, that's great, but let's get a more realistic goal with home shows, and we're going to work on sponsoring people, okay? And so you've got to know, what is it that they're looking for? Is it realistic? The next question you could say is, or always answer a question with a question. So get them talking and keep that conversation going. And another great question is, what do you think about what we talked? So after you share Premier with them, what do you think about what we talked about? And then you'll really hear their fears. And why is it? Are they afraid to speak in front of people? Are they afraid they won't be able to keep their business going? Are they afraid they won't find the money to sign up in Premier? Get them talking about what they thought, okay? You've got to be the one to ask questions. And I get personal with people. If they tell me they have a financial need, I say, I need to know what bill it is that you need to pay. Because if they don't attach it to something physically, they will not last in Premier. They'll just, and if you don't have something that Premier is attached to, you won't last in Premier either. Because you'll just be doing it and not really have a why behind it. You've got to have a need behind it. Who was it? Somebody just said, I don't know where I was, but she said she made her grocery bill. Oh, it was Elizabeth Mahusa at Haven. And she said, I made my grocery bill dependent upon Premier and my jewelry shows, because then I knew I had to do it. Even though she could have paid her grocery bill from somewhere else, she chose to make it that way so she would be sure to do what she needed to do. Okay? L in the word build stands for love the process and the people. And this is the fun part. You have to love them when they're not lovable. Who knows somebody who's not real lovable? Yeah, I do too. It's called sandpaper. But God has brought them to you. You got to love people who aren't lovable. You have to have a yes face. If you talk about Premier like this, yeah, Premier's great. Who's going to want to sign up for Premier now? You're like, girl, you got to believe what you're saying, okay? And you have to get to know them. I usually spend the first part, when I'm talking to somebody about Premier, I spend the whole first part of it really just kind of getting to know them. Do they have kids? Have they worked? Do they work now? What's their life like? I need to know their situation so I can tailor what I'm saying to them, to their needs, okay? And then you've got to meet people where they are. Okay, so here's the deal. Who in here thinks we're all the same personality? No, we're all different, aren't we? And God made us that way, and thankfully we're not all crazy, and we're not all type A's, and we're not all quiet. You know, that would be a very boring world. So God makes us all with different unique gifts and abilities, right? So you've got to know who the person is that you're dealing with when you're sharing the business with them. If you've got somebody who's like a fly on the wall, who doesn't like being at the center of attention, doesn't like being around people very much, they're real skeptical, they're a fly on the wall, you know what? Bringing them to something like a big training like this will probably freak them out, okay? And they'll probably run away screaming because you just put them in a room full of women that were happy and they were like overwhelmed, okay? Huh?
With clappers.
With clappers. And they're like, oh, the noise is killing me. Okay, right? And that's okay if they're like that. So when you're sharing the business with them, they may even be intimidated to sit one-on-one with you, because that can be intimidating for some personalities. So you may need to send them the OP call to listen to. So they're just on the phone and they're not feeling threatened and they don't think you're going to like cut their right arm off if you don't sign up in Premier, right? Because people freak out. And so give them the OP call. Meet people where they are. You may have somebody who's a real personal person. They love one-on-one attention. Then don't bring them to training. Meet with them one-on-one for coffee. They want personal connection. And then you may have those people who love having fun. That'd be me. I love being in a room full of people, right? So if you would have sent me if Cheryl would have sent me an OP call to listen to, I'd be like, that's not fun to me, and that's not personal to me. I'm like, I don't care. Now, one-on-one, I may have been okay, but had she brought me to a fun to share, I'd have been like, heck yeah, I'm signing up in Premier. This is fun, okay? Because that's what I want. That's who I am. So you've got to know who your people are so you don't freak them out, okay? So utilize what's at your hands when you're sharing the business with Premier. And D in build stands for dream. You've got to dream and you've got to have goals or you will be working for nothing. And your dream has to be bigger than you. And I would urge you to really pray for God to reveal to you what He has brought you here. Because He has ordained every one of you to be right here tonight. And He's ordained every one of you before you were born. He knew that you would be in Premier and that you would be here for a purpose. And I want you to really seek Him in finding out, why am I here, Lord? And please let me see who it is that you're bringing to me for you to touch. And just use me as a vessel. And that would be what all of our Rockstar family, that would be my prayer for every one of you, is that you remain empty so God can truly work through you and that you see that and that you're constantly aware of who God is bringing to you. Because He's bringing them to you, whether it's somebody sitting next to you in gymnastics class who asked you about Premier. He brings it to you when you are at a home show and you have all those women right there in front of you. And He brings people to you when you sit down and talk about this business one-on-one. It's for a purpose. And you've got to know that. Okay? And really ask God why. So all that stands for is build. So building your business. But you got to have a plan and you got to work the building plan. So if I were to build something, I would use my spidey sense, and I would say, oh, like Jonathan's gonna build bunk beds, right? So this would be me building bunk beds. I'd go to Lowe's and I would be like, that would look pretty on the end, and maybe we need a few of those, and I don't really follow details very well. And I would just think, oh, this would be pretty. Let's just get all this and we'll make it work. That's how I operate. This is Jonathan. He's going to go search the internet for, he really did this, for bunk bed plans, and he's going to study them for like 3 hours, and then he's going to spend 3 hours in Lowe's making sure everything is right, and then he's going to get home and he's going to spend 5 years making bunk beds.
2 weekends.
Well, whatever. But I'd be like, let's just make it and get it done with. I don't have time to think about it. And so that's not the right way. That's the stupid way. And so the right way is to have a plan and work your plan, but you have to be intentional with it in building. Okay? And then let me show you this too, because I thought this was really good. There are 4 types of jewelers wanting to build and share. There are, and you fit into one of these categories. You may be confrontational. So a confrontational jeweler sharing the business will be like this. Girl, this is how it is, and this is, you need to do it. I'm confronting you. This is how it is, there's no other way, and you need to do it because God has sent you here. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. The second type of jeweler will be this, more intellectual jeweler. This is why things are this way. I'm going to share figures with you. I'm going to share reports with you. And I'm going to discuss facts with you that are very important, because it's all very important to have knowledge, right? And so that person's going to share with you. You also may be a relational jeweler who wants to build a friendship with you. They want to have fun. They want to spend time together. And then after they do all that, they'll share Premier with you. Or you'll share Premier with them. Or you may be a testimonial jeweler. I'm going to share with you all that Premier has done in my life. And I may not share Premier with you right away, but you're going to see over time what Premier has done in my life. And then, at the right time, I will share Premier with you. Okay? And we could be a couple of these, or you may fit solely into one category, and none of them are wrong. All of them are great. You just need to make sure you know who you are. You know who God has created you to be. If you are a relational jeweler or a testimonial jeweler, you just need to make sure that you're bringing them to a point of, I'm going to share Premier with you. Otherwise, you'll just keep building relationships till kingdom come and nobody will do Premier because you don't ever sit down and share with them. Okay? I don't know what I am.
Oh no.
I'm like a million. I can do anyone.
Yeah.
But they always need to make sure that you bring them to a point.
I don't know, because you didn't share Premier with me.
Well, shut up. There's nothing wrong with any of those styles, but they all must learn to share the marketing plan. So no matter what kind of jeweler you are, you've got to learn to share the marketing plan. Okay? Which Danielle does a great job modeling that for y'all. That's why you need to be fun to share so you can see it. Okay? That's it. What time is it?
8:45.
Oh, do I not really have more time?
You do.
Okay, good. I just want to share one more thing with y'all.
I mean, it's not every day you come to Birmingham. So.
I know. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about a man in the Bible. This is devotion. We're switching to devotion now. So I'm going to talk to you about a man in the Bible, and his name was Peter. This may be the last time I get Peter talk because I felt like I've talked about him all year. Who remembers Peter in the Bible? Anybody ever heard of him? What is the one thing Peter is so famous for? What did he do? He walked on water. Yes, he. What did you say?
He denied Christ, but
Yeah, but he also walked.
he
on
also
water.
walked on water.
He walked on water, right? Okay. So, who's ever been in some darkness? Raise your hand. Have you ever been in darkness? We all have, because we're what? Humans, right? And also, God doesn't grow you if you don't go through some darkness. So we've all been in darkness. You know how when you first join Premier, and everything is like roses, isn't it? Like, oh, I'm going to save the world, and I'm going to buy a minivan, and I'm going to stay home with my children, and I'm going to buy 5 orphanages. Whatever your goal is, okay, I'm going to get out of debt. Everything is great, right? It was the same thing with Peter. He was in the boat, and then what came?
The storm.
The storms came, right? The wind and the rain and the storms came. Likewise, it will totally happen in your Premier business, because it won't be a business and it won't be life without storms. So the wind comes, and the wind in your Premier business could be a canceled show. It could be somebody not calling you back. It could be somebody saying they're going to sign up for Premiere and they never do. It could be whatever. It could be you showing up to a show and the hostess hides in her bathroom. Okay? It could be whatever. Storms will come in your Premiere business. Okay? So Peter was in the boat, and who does he see on the water? Who does he see out there?
Jesus. Come on, y'all.
He sees Jesus, right?
Jesus.
Jesus he saw. And so he looks at him, and what does Jesus say to him? Peter,
Come out.
come, Peter. And like with blind faith, all Peter could see in that moment was Jesus. And so he fixed his eyes on him, and he took that step of faith, and he stepped out on the water. And he saw Jesus. He was transfixed on him. And then all of a sudden, what did Peter start seeing? To his left and to his right. He started seeing the storms. And he took his eyes off of the purpose and the one thing that he should have been focused on. And he started focusing on the storms, which is so easy to do, right? It's so easy to focus on storms and the negative things instead of keeping your eyes focused on the purpose that God has called you to in your business. So he took his eyes off of Jesus, and then what happened to Peter? Down, down, down Peter goes, right? So you've got to make sure, this is what Jesus said. Matthew 14:30, it says, if it is you, tell me to come to you. And Jesus said, come, Peter. So Peter got out. So how many of you have been jewelers for less than a year in here? Okay, so a good man of you. How many of you have been jewelers for less than 2 years? Like a lot of people.
Should be
Almost everybody. Mm-hmm. So you can go from like, I'm saving the world, then the wind comes and you're like, this doesn't work. Career doesn't work, I just can't do it. But you've got to make sure that you're keeping your eyes fixed on the one true thing. Okay? Rest assured, wind will always come. You may have some smooth sailing or some smooth walking on the water for a little bit, but the wind will always come. And what makes the difference is where you're going to keep your eyes fixed. And so I want to encourage you that regardless of what happens, and regardless of if you start sinking, Christ can always pull you up, but you've got to really rest in Him and lean into Him and fully trust what He's doing in your life through Premiere. Okay? Accept fear as the price of growth. You will grow and change, but the person stepping out on the water will never remain the same as the person who stays in the boat, scared of what may come. Seek failure as the opportunity to grow, and you just got to get up. If you start sinking, and you got to do it again and again and again. That's what we do in life, and that is also what you do in your business. It's the same thing. Okay. So step out of the boat like Peter. Okay, and then I'm going to switch from God to Theodore Roosevelt. And he says, this is a great quote though. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, so not the man still sitting on the boat, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly and who errs, who comes short again and again, because we're human and we will fail. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions? Who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who, at the best, knows in the end, the triumph of a high achievement? And who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. And so what I want you to do is purpose in yourself that you want to know what victory is like in life and in Premiere, and you want to know what defeat is like in life and in Premiere, because lives out there, your life and other people's lives who are yet to be touched by God through Premiere because you opened your mouth, you've got to be willing to risk. And then you got to work through and get up and do it again. Because anybody who's had success in Premiere has also had that much more failure. Okay? She got to get up and do it again. Y'all are awesome anyway. So that's what I'm going to leave y'all with. Thank y'all. Y'all are awesome.
Isn't she so great?
Yeah.
Are you so glad they came all the way from Gainesville to talk to you? We need more claps than that.
No, that's great.
Good. Okay, all right, well, we have some giveaways because there's a new Christmas line. Have you seen the new Christmas line?
Yeah.
Yes. Has anybody ordered any new Christmas jewelry? Yes. I know. I've got 3 pieces on today of new Christmas jewelry. I love this new Christmas jewelry. Who would like to win this piece of Christmas jewelry? Ooh, so pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay, what is this called again? Decadence? Oh good, I'm glad somebody knows. Okay, here's the cool thing about Decadence. It comes with a chain and it comes with a ribbon. It's like a soft, fuzzy ribbon. Oh my gosh, I love it. And both of them are removable, so you don't have to wear both the ribbon and the chain all at the same time. And so you can take some pieces off and you could wear it just like this. And you can put this on something else, like, what's the Copper Canyon? Have y'all seen Copper Canyon?
Oh yeah.
It's all on the back table if you guys want to post it. But this looks so great on Copper Canyon, and this doubles as a bracelet. Oh my gosh, just endless. So who wants to win this piece of jewelry? Okay. All right, well, everybody got a ticket when you came in. And Dave, if you'll get that green basket.
There's
behind
one
that.
over there.
You can put half of their
Put it in the
ticket.
box.
Okay.
Give me half your
Ready?
ticket.
All right, you have to rip your ticket in half. No, it's not. You gotta find it to win. Just put whatever one. There's. Look, I bought double tickets, so it would be so much easier. So we have to write your name on it. You might have sat on it.
Give yours in. Oh, we can get you one. We can get you one.
Who needs one? I have an extra.
That's yours, Natalie. You get a ticket.
Oh, okay, I love that. Okay.
Also needs a
Okay.
ticket.
Take it.
Do you have any more?
I have more. Yes, on the floor.
There's some tickets here.
You already did
Like
yours?
if someone needs.
Got all of yours too? Did you get a ticket?
I have
Good. Okay. All right. Perfect. Like, where are all y'all's tickets? Did you already
gave them, Dave.
Oh. These are extra. Oh, yeah. That's what happens when you do home shows and stuff. Come on. Okay, everyone have a ticket in here? Look, Lacey's so happy. She's having a baby. That's really why she came. Just a little baby. It had really nothing to do with you.
So y'all start procreating, okay? So I can keep coming back.
Okay, Dave, come be my ticket grabber. Okay, who's so excited? You have to be really excited when you win. If you're not excited, then you can come back.
Just stand up and scream.
Yeah, like blow us away.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Everybody stand up.
Oh.
And when your number is not still going, you have to sit down and say, aw. All right. 4.
Yay!
8. 8. 0. 0. 2. Last number is 8. Do we have more?
Yes, because who wants to buy their own Decadence? With a $20 bill!
$20 bill!
If you
Anyway,
come to Rally, you'll understand.
I thought it was really funny.
Where's your one?
All right, here we go. No. Name's awesome. All right, cool. All right, bro. 4. 8. 0. 0. 0. 3.
Come on, Dave.
4. 8. 0. 0. 1.
Oh, wait, one. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought I got ahead of myself.
4.
Way to go! Look at that. That's talking about cash and jewelry.
Good.
What a fun night. That was awesome. Okay, well, we are gonna pray, and
we need to announce tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow, Jonathan and Lacy have been here a few days. They're going to stay a little bit more tomorrow than they probably should. And we're going to do breakfast at our house, which is 3 doors down.
We've all been to it.
It's going to be from 9 to 11. They're going to be there with their kids, and you're welcome to bring your kids if you have kids. We won't have babysitters, but it's just breakfast. And they'll be there to talk and kind of be, answer questions, and you get to know them more. We'll have like bagels and coffee and juice, and so you don't have to like feed your kids and get them all ready and bring over. They can have some of that too. So kind of let us know if you're thinking about coming. We can get enough food. That's why I'm not running back out. But it's gonna be an awesome time. And they'll be there till about 11. Then we're gonna probably ask everybody to head out so that they can pack to be able to get back to Gainesville. So 9 to 11 tomorrow.
Yes.
Literally 3 houses away. So
Really 5. 2 down, 3 up the hill.
debatable.